Hey guys, welcome back to my video. In today's video I'm gonna show you how I made this fox style animation in Capcut. But before that, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification so you don't miss out every new video from this channel. So without any further ado, let's get jump to the video. So for this animation, the first asset that you need to be prepared is the grid background. You can find many of this kind of background on Google, or if you want to make it yourself, I have explained it on my videos. You can check this video right here, or you can download it from the link in the description. Then you need an image of bicycle, which you have to separate every part of it into separated file, from the body, the seat, the wheel, and you name it, and then add the drop shadow effect to each of them. The thing is, the more you separate the part of the bicycle, you will get the better quality of the animation and also the detail. And the last one is basically just a solid white color background. All of this asset and project file are available on my Patreon. You can check it there. And now after you have prepared all of these assets, it's time to open Capcut. If you haven't installed Capcut, you can download Capcut from the link in my description to get free 7 days trial of the pro version. Now I'm gonna import all of the assets that I have created, and then let's drag the solid white image for the background and also this grid. Then I'm gonna expand the duration to 15 seconds. For the grid layer, I'm not gonna display it fully on the frame, maybe just a little bit in the middle. So select the grid layer, go to the mask and select circle. Let's adjust the size of the mask here. After that, adjust the feather to 10. Now I'm gonna drag the parts of the bicycles to the timeline and animate it one by one. Let's start from the body. Just drag it into the timeline, add a keyframe on the transform, move the playhead to 1 or 2 seconds, add a keyframe again on the transform. Now go back to the first keyframe, and then I'm gonna reposition it here from up and make sure it's out of the frame, so it's gonna look like this. Now I'm gonna customize the movement so it's gonna look more smoother. Just press Alt and K on your keyboard and then click on the Y axis, right click on this keyframe, go to grab, and I'm gonna select ease. Then make the grab like this. So it's gonna look like this. And then I'm gonna drag this pedal to the timeline and then just expand it to the 50 second. And because of the pedal and the gears here is in the same layer, I'm gonna separate it first because I want to apply two different animation for these two parts. So let's separate it by going to the mask and then choose horizontal and then rotate it 90 degree and position the mask line to the object that you want to remove. For example, I'm gonna remove this pedal, and after that just duplicate the layer by holding Alt key and click this reverse option. So now it's separated into two different layers. Now let's animate it. First I'm gonna animate this gear. Let's just move the playhead to where the body has arrived, and then I'm gonna trim these two layers. Now let's start making the animation. So for the gear, now go to animation, and then I'm gonna add animation called slide down, and then set the duration to 1 second, and then right click and create compound clip. Now go to mask, choose horizontal, and then click reverse and position the mask line here. So the animation is gonna look like this. Now for the pedal, I'm gonna add an animation like a pop-up animation. So the first thing I'm gonna do is position the pedal in the middle of the frames like this, in the center of the frame, and then right click and create compound clip. After that, position the pedal to where it belongs again. Now To animate this, I'm gonna add the keyframe transform, move forward a few frames, add the keyframe again, and then move forward a few frames again, and add the keyframe again. Now go back to the second keyframe, change the scale to 107, and then go back to the first keyframe and change the scale to 1%. So it's gonna look like this. If it's too fast, you can also change the speed by dragging this keyframe. And now what I'm gonna do is to drag this chain layer and then position the layer beneath the gear and pedal layer, just like before. So as you can see here, there are two chain here, the top and the bottom. I'm gonna separate both of these two different layer as well. I'm gonna expand the layer duration first. So we just have to do the same step like we did before. Go to mask, select horizontal, and then reposition the mask line here and duplicate the layer and click the reverse option. Now we just have to animate it. So I'm gonna animate it using just simple animation. Go to animation, and then I'm gonna select the slide left for the top chain and then set the duration to 1 second. After that, right click and create compound clip. After that, go to mask and select horizontal, rotate the mask 90 degree, and then reposition it here in the middle of the pedal. So it's look like the chain is appear from here. Now for the bottom chain, I'm gonna add the animation, the slide right, and then right click and create compound clip. Go to mask and then choose horizontal, rotate it 90 degree, and then reposition the mask to the gear, and you just have to select this reverse option. Now I'm just gonna set the timing. I'm gonna set the top chain to appear first, so both of this chain I'm gonna make it appear after the gear arrive. So let's drag both of this layer to here. So as you can see, it's gonna look like this. And then I'm gonna animate the back seat. Let's place the layer here. Now I'm gonna move forward a little bit after all of the chain appear, and then drag the back seat layer and then place it here. Now we just have to animate it. I'm gonna animate it using keyframe. Move forward 1 second and then add keyframe again. Go back to the first keyframe, and then I'm gonna make it appear from the top. So let's reposition here from the top. So it's gonna look like this. As usual, press Alt key on your keyboard and then select the Y, and then right click on this keyframe and then go to grab, select ease, and then drag this a little bit here, and then the top here. So it's gonna look like this. I think it's kinda too fast. I'm gonna make it more longer by dragging this keyframe. Yeah, I think it's good. Press Alt key again to close the keyframe customization. I'm gonna expand the duration to the 15 second. And now let's move the playhead to where the back seat has arrived, and then I'm gonna drag the main seat layer to here and then expand the duration first. And then for the main seat, I'm gonna animate it using the animation tool. Let's see, I think I'm gonna use slide up and then just set the duration to 1 second, and then right click on the layer, create compound clip, go to mask, select horizontal, and position the mask line exactly on the edge of the tube. Let's just rotate it a little bit and position it here, and it's gonna look like this. Now it's time to animate the wheels. Now let's drag the wheel layer to the timeline and position it beneath all of the bicycle part layer, and then expand the duration to the 15 seconds, and then I'm gonna animate it like this, and then I'm gonna disable all of the bicycle parts layer except the wheels. So let's just select all of them and then press V. Now let's animate the wheels. Now the first thing to do, I'm gonna downscale it a little bit. After that, add the keyframe on the transform and move the playhead to the end of the frame, and then change the rotation to 1350 degree, so it's gonna turning like this. After that, right click and create compound clip. Now I'm gonna animate the position, add the transform again, and then move the playhead a few seconds, maybe it's 1 or 2 seconds, and then add the keyframe again on transform, move forward again a little bit, and then reposition the wheel exactly to where it belongs. So I'm gonna enable back the body layer, and then now you just have to reposition it to here, and then press Alt and K again. Here on the scale, I'm gonna right click and then go to the grab option and choose the ease. I think the animation is too fast, so just drag this keyframe a little bit forward, and then I'm gonna slide this a little bit here and this one to here, so it's gonna look like this, and then close the keyframe customization. Now right click and create compound clip again, and now just duplicate this layer. Now for the second wheel, reposition the playhead on the last keyframe in this layer, and then reposition the wheel to the front. Now since these two wheels doesn't have any shadow on it, I'm gonna add it. The first thing you have to do is to duplicate each of the wheel layer. Let's start from the left wheel, and then select the layer beneath the main wheel layer, go to adjustment, go to curve, and then drag down this luma point, and then now you have to reposition the shadow like this. After that, go to blend and then decrease the opacity to maybe like 43, and then go to effect and search for the effect called motion blur. Now let's drag this motion blur to the shadow layer. Now you just have to adjust the horizontal. I'm gonna set it to 51. Now for the right wheel, you just have to do the same. Duplicate the layer and then select the layer beneath the main layer, go to adjustment, drag the luma point down, and then reposition the shadow, go to the basic again, and then go to blend and decrease the opacity to 43, add the motion blur and adjust it to 51. Now after we have shadow on our wheels, what I'm gonna do here is to select all of the bicycle parts layer, then re-enable it by pressing V. Now I'm gonna reposition all of the bicycle parts layer except the wheel to here. Let's select all of this layer and then drag it here like this, so it's gonna look like this. And yeah, now you have the bicycle parts animated. Now let's move on to the next steps, and now let's drag the text layer to the timeline and then position it to from the first frame, and then let's expand the duration to here. Now here I'm gonna write maybe like a year, let's say 1975 or something, and then change the color to black, and then I'm gonna use Times New Roman font, and let's position it right here. Now go to animation, and in animation I'm gonna add animation called this animation, and then set the duration to 1 second. Let's expand the text layer to 50 seconds, and now I'm gonna tidy up all of this layer to 50 seconds. Let's select all of these offside layers and then press W, and then now let's make this part of animation. So here I'm gonna move the playhead to the 10 second, and then select all of this layer except the background layer, that is the grid and the white background. Press Ctrl B. After that, right click and create compound clip. Now what I'm gonna do here is go to the video, and now I'm gonna add the keyframe on the transform, move forward a few seconds here, and then drag this up until it look like this, and then press Alt and K, select the Y axis, right click on this keyframe, go to grab, select quad is, and then close it. So it's gonna look like this. Now I'm gonna add the text again. Let's drag the new text layer here, and here I'm gonna type paragraph about bicycle that I have made with ChatGPT. So let's just paste it here, then change the color to black. I'm gonna tidy up the text and then downscale it, change the alignment to this. Now I'm gonna change the font type to Times New Roman. I'm gonna make an exception for this bicycle word. I'm gonna change it to the font called plain black, and then upscale the size only for the bicycle words. I think I'm gonna adjust the character a little bit, and then downscale it a little bit, and reposition this to the center of the frame. Now let's animate it. First I'm gonna expand the duration of the text to the 15 second, and then move the playhead to the first frame, add the keyframe on the transform, move forward to the same position as this keyframe, and then add the keyframe on the transform again. Now go back to the first keyframe, then reposition the text to the bottom until it's out of the frame. So it's gonna look like this. Now let's make the animation smoother. So it's gonna look like this. Now I'm gonna add one more asset, that is the yellow solid color, to make the highlight on the text. I'm gonna import it and then drag this to the timeline and position the layer beneath the text layer. And for example here I'm gonna highlight these words, popular for urban transportation. So let's go to the mesh and then choose rectangle, and now adjust the mesh size until it just highlight the chosen word. Now right click and create compound clip, and here I'm gonna animate this highlight. I'm gonna make this highlight appear maybe from this second. So let's just trim it by pressing Q, and then go to mesh again, select horizontal, rotate it -90 degree, and then drag the mesh line to the left until the highlight disappear. Then add the keyframe on the mesh. Now move forward a few seconds and drag this mesh line to the right until the highlight fully appear. Now I'm gonna make a camera movement also for the zoom effect like this. So now we just have to select all of these layers and then press Ctrl B, right click and create compound clip. Now add the keyframe on the transform, move a few seconds, and then upscale and reposition it. I think I'm gonna drag this keyframe a little bit forward. And as usual, let's make the movement smoother. Let's select quad is. I think I'm gonna choose cubic is, and then close it. Now let's add the blur effect. Go to the effect, search for the effect called blur. Now drag the blur effect to the timeline, and then move the playhead forward to here, and then trim the effect. After that, add the keyframe on the blur, move forward a few seconds, and then add it again, move forward again, add the keyframe again, and also for the last one. Now go to the first keyframe and change the blur to 0. Go to the second keyframe and change the blur to 8. Go to the third keyframe and change the blur to 12. And for the last one, change the blur to 0 again. So it's gonna look like this. And now for the camera movement, I'm gonna add effect called camera shake. Let's drag the effect to the timeline and then expand it to the whole duration. Adjust the speed to 0 and then the range to 7. And now all you have to do is just to export the video and then go to the website called Video Bolt and then drag the exported video to the box. Now here I'm gonna change the FPS to 12 and click download. And here's the final result.
In 1975, the evolution of the bicycle saw significant developments. With the oil crisis of the early 1970s, bicycles became increasingly popular for urban transportation. This period marked